Good day, guys, and welcome to my channel. It's me, it's Key. So happy to have you back. If you are new and joining us, welcome to my channel. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. So I just wanted to talk about something today that just came to mind, kind of rolling off of what I spoke about yesterday, and that's just having like a very objective mind. We're moving into a place, I guess you could say, energetically or spiritually, that is requiring us to be more flexible in our views and still maintaining certain boundaries. As we all know, if you don't know, we are slowly, very slowly moving into the age of Aquarius. Now, unlike how when the clock strikes midnight, it's in an instance, when we're moving into another spiritual or planetary energy, it does not happen just in a blink of an eye. There is a phasing out process and phasing in process to assist us with the adjustment. So we're at the point now and have been at the point for a very long time where we are moving out of duality. And I'm going to say duality because that's the way that Pisces has mostly shown up in its lower, I guess you could say, its lower vibrational state of duality versus it showing up in a higher vibrational balanced state. So it seems to me, in just my opinion, that we have collectively utilized the energy to dual. This is why we have two political parties. It's always black and white. There is always good versus evil, right and wrong. And we're moving out of that energy. Not to say that there won't still be some sort of, I guess you could say, like a collective, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like, it's not to say that we still won't have boundaries and morals and values that we should stick by. However, the age of Aquarius is definitely ushering in more grace, more gray areas, and it is calling for us to be more fluid in our receptiveness to information. There is no more it's this way, so it's always this way. There are no hard truths with Aquarius energy. Aquarius, it not only rules the intellect, but it also rules scientific progression. And in order for us to progress in a scientific way, we have to be open and honest that there are, you know, an unlimited an unlimited amount of possibilities. And even when we are proven correct in our studies, that there's always room for adjustment and improvement. Aquarius is also ushering in humanitarianism. So again, there is no just black and white, right and wrong. It's not going to be an age where we're seeing people being punished for things that they are doing, simply because it wasn't on the right side of the spectrum. We're going to see a lot of reformation, utilizing people's darkness and lightness in order to sustain and build a society that is conducive to who we naturally are or how we're naturally showing up in society. This is going to be a very big shift, and a lot of people and beings who are hell bent on having this dueling nature, whether that's within yourself or with other people, you're going to find this transition very difficult. Most people that have dueling natures and are not on the balanced side of Pisces energy, they won't necessarily understand giving of second chances or reforming people. They don't necessarily believe in that. They just kind of believe in throwing the idea away, throwing the person away, throwing the belief away if it does not match left or right. This is why you see people in this day and age, they're doing their absolute best and the most to try and get people riled up here in America about voting, because I can almost imagine that there are not as many people voting in this particular age than it was when the inception of this democracy was created. That's because energetically people are moving away from that. And it doesn't help that the people that they are putting out in front of us on both parties, neither one of them necessarily makes sense. When we got to the point here in America where we were using the phrase picking the lesser of two evils, like we all should have known that this was not going to last any much longer than it has already. There's predictions that, within the next 4 to 8 years, we may see our last reigning president in this country. Who's to say? You know, we don't necessarily know. But what I do know is that there is a phasing out of this dueling energy, because there won't be any room for this where the planet is going, where the energetic alignment is taking us. There'll be no room for that. This is why we also see that there's been an upheaval. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but there's been like an uptick in creating dueling messages or dueling spaces. Like there's always been, I guess you could say, with the feminine and masculine energy, for the most part, there's always been a dueling nature there. I feel like there were a small percentage or a good percentage of, masculines and feminine energies that were able to find a balance, but there's always been somewhat of a duel between the two. And we've noticed this especially around the time of 2020, where that dueling nature between feminine and masculine energy had been on a huge uprise. There had to be like a great spike in dueling against feminine and masculine energy. This is when you got all of the pickup artists, I would say between the years of 2017 to 2018, that then rolled into the red pill movement. And you have all of these men and women coming out with these podcasts in regards to how to either trap the other sex or use the other sex, manipulate the other sex, or energy, should I say. And it's a battle. But now we see that people are shying away from that. Even within myself, I consciously make sure that whenever any of those dueling channels, or they want to call them relationship conversationalist channels or content, whenever that comes up on my feed, as it would, because not only is it trending, it is captivating, it's capturing, and because I have already indulged, but now I make a very conscious decision to turn it off. I make a very conscious decision to block the page, block the person that shared it, because I don't want to see it. Because we've had enough of that. We've had enough of those dueling energies. I specifically have had enough with fighting myself, fighting my nature, fighting the opposite, you know, energy. Like I don't need that in my life. Like, it's already stressful here. I don't need it. At every waking moment and turn, there is some sort of dueling match that we're having. So if it's not through politics, if it's not through spirituality, if it's not through, masculine and feminine energy, we're just dueling on every front. And it's quite unfortunate because it is draining. But understand that those that have benefited from this Piscean energy and the duality of it, and they have benefited from the I guess you could say, the darker energy of Pisces, they are pushing to keep us in that energy because they understand the shift is coming. There is no more black or white. Now understand, moving into Aquarius, there is an energy of a higher vibration, and then there is a lower vibrating energy of Aquarius as well. So please don't expect for us to just go into the Aquarius energy and not expect to see, you know, all sides of the spectrum, because that's what it is. It's not necessarily good and bad. We're out of that. We're now entering into a spectrum. And this is why you see, even with the movement of genders, or yeah, the movement of genders, they're now saying it's a spectrum. So understand that we are moving onto a spectrum. There is no good or bad anymore. Everything is being placed in its place and in its category. And wherever you fit on your category is how you bring balance and harmony into the the function of our enlightenment. I used to tell people all the time, especially, being that I'm a avid spiritualist, and I would have conversations with certain people in my life who are also avid spiritualists, and they would say to me, I used to follow this such and such person, or their messages and so on and so forth, and I subscribe to them. However, you know as I begin to elevate my way of thinking, I notice that they're still there on that particular topic. They're never going to leave there. They're never going to leave that way of thinking. And, they're just stuck. They're not elevating their spiritual belief. Don't they know that it's higher than that? It's higher than where they are. Like, it's not just that, so maybe they fell back asleep. Maybe it's comfortable for them there and they fell back asleep. And I would simply say, no, they're just there in that particular space of spirituality and content for the people that need them on that level. And that's what Aquarius is bringing in. There is no more right or wrong way of doing things. Now, there is a moral way of doing things. And that's about how it resonates with your karma, where you're to be in this life, and how you are to be a helping hand to the souls that are here to ascend. Now, with that being said, everything is utilized for the good of the collective. So, understanding that, even when weird things happen to me, and I'm going to call them weird because they're not good or bad, whenever I experience any sort of weirdness or contrast to what I want in this life, I've gotten to the point of acceptance that I've survived 100% of my worst days. And everything that I have experienced can only push me towards wherever it is that I'm going, even if I'm walking around in a circle. It's to reframe my mind from whatever belief that I had and allow me the moment to become objective in my thoughts. I was also uber super religious at one point. And I have to tell you, just from my humble opinion, that had to be the weirdest, one of the weirdest times of my life. Again, not saying good or bad, but one of the weirdest. I had so many contrasting events happening in my life because I had such rigid views of myself, of the people around me, of the people that I encountered. So, in those contrasting events, I learned just from myself that was the universe's way of pushing me into being objective, understanding that life is not a one size fits all, and everybody is not on my level. I am not on the level of others, and we're all collectively trying to find our place. This is what Aquarius is going to do. when you are naturally good at something, when you are naturally capable of something. Aquarius is bringing in the energy to allow you your space to be an individual. They also rule individualism, right? Humanitarianism, individualism, and being able to flow, free forming. Now, when we're used to a world that only thinks one way, it's really hard to get everyone on board. It's extremely hard to get everyone on board. And honestly, they don't necessarily want that, because how can you control the masses? How can you control the energy when everyone is free to show up as they want? You cannot. So now they are scrambling. They are scrambling for this to become a dictatorship, to have a stronghold on us. Understand that with the energies that are coming in, there is no good or bad. However, you do have a spectrum of the energy. So at its highest heights, where Aquarius would be freedom and individualism and humanitarianism, the opposite end of the spectrum will be dictatorships and imprisonment, or even mass imprisonment. So understand that we are moving into this energy, and how it will show up in your life, you have to do your best to navigate for yourself. We all know our meaning and what we've come here to do. Even if you don't know in this very second, when it comes to you, you'll know. I remember I kept saying to myself, and just, in reflections and meditations, like, I know I'm supposed to be doing something, but what? What am I supposed to be doing? Like, my voice is strong. What am I supposed to be doing? Because I don't know what to make content about. I don't know how to share my thoughts, really. So what am I supposed to be doing here? What am I supposed to be doing here? And I'm slowly figuring that out. I'm slowly getting out of my own way and the duality of my thoughts and what I can and cannot do. And I'm just allowing myself to flow in however I feel in that moment, and not being so rigid and so hard on myself about what I believe, and not limiting myself to a set schedule or structure or any of that. Whenever I feel like posting, I'm just going to post. Now, I do get in my bag a little bit when I know that I probably should post and I haven't, or I'm losing my morale. I push myself, because I know that that is my defeatist attitude just rearing its ugly head and making me duel with myself about what I know I should be doing or where I fit in into this world. 333 on the clock. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to share with you all my thoughts, my beliefs, the things that I feel are coming in this world, and how I can be a part of it. I don't know, if this entire message will resonate with you, but I would welcome all comments, suggestions, any sort of feedback that you may have. Are you feeling this? Because we've all felt the shift. We've all felt the shift. Even in this instance, in the realm of hip hop, everything that's going on right now between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Understand that they've showed up as two dueling natures, because we are still, again, in Pisces energy. That is being phased out. So it's not just going to be a strike of the clock where everything happens in an instant. No, we're still going to see dueling. We're going to see a lot less of it. We're going to see the people that are holding on to that duality, either they're going to succumb to their way of thinking and be left behind, or they're going to adjust. They're going to become more open to what can be, what could be in this life, putting all pride aside. But I think we all felt that shift, even just looking into the music industry as it stands. Most of the larger corporations of music and art and so forth, they are selling a lot of their smaller companies or discontinuing them in order to put money back into that main company, because they are trying to utilize the energy to capture those that are within that main umbrella, because they understand that a lot of people are going independent. They don't necessarily want that. Nobody wants independent and free thinkers. This is why there was a war on woke. And they were trying to say that it was a what's the phrase that I'm looking for? Put it down in the comments if you know what I mean, if you're here at this time of the video. But basically that it was a threat, like a national threat, war on woke. Listen, they can't stop what's happening. You can't stop what's happening. The world is transitioning. The spiritual realm is transitioning. The energetic alignment is transitioning. There is nothing that we can do to adjust that. However, they can attempt to manipulate the energies to work for them where they are vibrating. And it may just be on the lower end of the spectrum. That's just how this energy thing works. There's not a one size fits all. There is an unlimited amount of energy that possesses existence. There's no way for us to calculate how broad this spectrum is. But trust me, it's not as small as you think. And most people can't necessarily wrap their head around it, being that we've only told that there's one way, and anything outside of one way is another way, good and bad, evil and righteous. No, there's a place for everybody. The same way Kendrick told Drake, listen, I like you better when you do your pop stuff. That's the bag that I feel like you fit. I'm not saying that there's not a place in hip hop for you. I'm not saying that there's not a place in this world for you, but there is a place where who you are as a person fits, and you will thrive in that bag. You will thrive there. Because when you try to fit in a place where you don't belong, you pollute the energy. You dilute the energy. It's not at its full potential when you're there. That's like trying to operate something that needs a 12-volt battery with a 5-volt. It may or may not turn on. And if it does turn on, it does not operate in its full capacity. You do not thrive there. I mean, this is just some of the things that I'm picking up just energetically in this life. We all have a bag that we fit in. And trying to fit in another bag is always going to feel like prison when you don't fit there. That's like trying to put a shark in a guppy tank. It doesn't fit. It can't roam free. There's not enough room here for me. I need somewhere else to be where I can thrive, where I can be a shark. And for a guppy, this ocean is too wide and too vast. I will get eaten up being in this ocean. But in my small tank, I am safe. I am happy. I am thriving. Someone feeds me. This little ecosystem that I have is perfect just for me to be the best guppy. This is how the earth is moving. This is how the earth is moving. Or even a crab. As the crab grows, it sheds. It allows itself room to grow. It grows. It sheds. It has a larger shell to be the best crab it can be. That's what this Aquarius energy is going to look like. Putting people in the best position for themselves to be their most authentic self. People will take advantage of this. We will see things that are morally unsound with the majority of the collective. Be prepared for that. Really sit down with yourself. Have these conversations with yourself about where you think that you belong. Do those things that you're afraid of. Those things that people told you will get you in trouble, that are not against any sort of moral code. because I don't want anybody to pervert my message. But those things that you're good at, like I was the girl that got, talkative on her report cards and interns, and people telling me your mouth is going to get you in trouble one day. So please, however that applies to you, not in a way where you're going out robbing people or something like that. Listen, if you're good at fraud and robbing and so on and so forth, there probably is a place for you. There probably is a place for you. Maybe even in our government, if you're good with technology and you know how to hack things and so on and so, there's probably a place for you to stop hackers. You see what I'm saying? We all have the capacity to be utilized in a way that makes sense to society and to bring balance. And it's time that we put ourselves in position to acquire those places and those spaces. Well, guys, I hope that this message has, provided you some sort of enlightenment. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe. Really, really looking forward to the comments. And until next time, you guys have a beautiful day.